This is the RotoWire DFS show. Welcome. We're back. We're talking Saturday's 4-game classic slate at DraftKings. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Jordan Cooper and Ryan Belongia. Jordan, it's been a long off season. Actually, no, it hasn't. It's been a short off season, really, if you think about it here. Last time we saw you, you're about to head to Alaska. Since then, you've started a weekly betting show, a daily betting show. Check that out. I'll prop that up.
If you want to call it a betting show, it's me trying to
betting
find
analysis
anything that's available and trying to teach people.
plus
What you can find at noon on an MLB slate. You pretty much can't find nothing.
Anyway. There you go. So Jordan, have you been grinding Luton Town tape ahead of the slate, or?
Dude, you should know me, right? You and Ryan should know me. It's like I'm going to come in and once the slate went up on EPL, right? I checked it. I'm like, when is it Women's World Cup? Okay, no. Okay, it's up. The contests are up, but not the slate. Once the slate comes up, I'm like, okay, you know what time it is? Figure out who's on what team. I don't know what's going on with Moises Caicedo, why they're going to pay him so much money at Chelsea, whatever the hell's going on. So I rely very heavily to get up to speed with the RotoWire cheat sheets, right? And you have the formations and everything there at RotoWire. RotoWire.com/soccer trial, I believe, is still the URL. And I know, Adam, when you put in like predicted starting 11s, I could look and I go, okay, there's a new person here. I remember that team. And then you could go and look at like SofaScore or something and be like, okay, what happened in some friendlies? What did the lineups look like? And then you realize, when you first make your lineup without doing that, you have Damari Gray at forward, and you realize that he's probably not going to play because he wants to be gone.
Yeah, Ryan. So we're relying on you for Luton Town and Sheffield United info. But I guess, if you look at the Sheffield United lineup, it's a lot of the same guys outside of conveniently their forwards here, because they lost arguably their best player in Ndiaye about a week ago. They lost maybe their best midfielder in Sander Berge to Burnley a few days ago. So they're struggling. I believe their manager said just before at his press conference that they're struggling to get 11 players in the team. I don't know if that's exactly the truth, but they signed this Vinicius Souza guy. Forget exactly where he came from, but he may actually get a start in the midfield because they're so thin. But Ryan, first off, welcome in. Welcome. Hope your summer was enjoyable. Hopefully all the block parties you attended were up to standard for you. But how's it going? Have you seen much of Luton Town Sheffield United before the slate here?
No, I maybe saw one Luton Town game.
Yeah, the playoff game.
Anyways, it's going well. I'm glad to have soccer back. It was a long summer, losing money at baseball, losing money at golf. Grinding best ball has been pretty fun. I didn't really expect to do that, but happy to have soccer back.
Desperate times.
Though, apart from, I don't know, it looks like sort of every team on this slate got worse. Palace lost Zaha. They don't have Elise. Brighton lost McAllister and Caicedo. Those are big losses. West Ham lost Declan Rice. Might not have Paqueta. The best two players. Bournemouth's dealing with a ton of injuries. Some new players on Sheffield. Good to have new forwards, because I'm just so sick of playing, Brewster and McBurney, and
those guys are still around, by the way.
Still around,
They're just hurt. Willis Sula is like this random guy who may be forced into start.
Please say we don't have to play Sharp anymore.
He is not there. Billy Sharp is no longer
there.
Is
Chris Wood on a team?
Chris Wood is on Nottingham Forest still. Not on this slate, fortunately. I would say maybe Everton and maybe Fulham. Right now, Fulham have not gotten worse.
Fulham just got over. Everton lost McNeil and
outside of injuries. Right. Paulinho is out for Fulham as well. He has I forgot what it was, shoulder something, arm issue. As you said, McNeil is out, so we're going to be talking about that. But look at the odds, as Jordan said, rotowire.com/soccer trial. Brighton are basically Manchester City on the slate, according to the odds. 74% chance to win, 47% clean sheet, 2.24 implied goal total. That's a pretty high total. That's about where Manchester City is at today against Burnley. So if you want to look at it like that, I don't know if you want to look at Brighton like Manchester City. Maybe we'll talk about it here, but let's get into forwards. Jordan, Ryan, you ready? Game week 1, first Saturday of the season. Let's do it. Pascal Gross, right back, 10.1K. Are you in, Jordan, for cash games? Are you in for Pascal Gross this season?
I mean, truthfully, I prefer him as a fullback than a defensive midfielder. But 10.1K, I mean, is he on penalties with McAllister gone?
The thought is that if Joao Pedro starts for Brighton, Pedro is going to be taking PKs. If Pedro is out, we could see Gross on PKs for him. So it's going to be up to if Pedro's in the starting 11.
I mean, the thing on this slate is that Brighton are substantial favorites with the highest implied team total, but their pricing is it's like Man City pricing. It's like Gross and March and Ferguson and Page. I mean, all these guys are like 9. There's one guy that could be in the starting lineup. I don't know. We'll have to see if he starts. It's hard to prioritize these guys. I mean, it's like they all have. To me, I view it as you have to treat it like Man City, of does anyone have like that great of a? They all have good ceilings, but that's what you're paying for. Versus taking someone like Eze at 9,800. I mean, he should have the monopoly of set pieces for Crystal Palace. I mean, without Elise in there, it's a pick 'em matchup on the road. I know they don't have Zaha anymore, but Eze's going to play in a forward role. He's going to play as like a central attacking midfielder. I think from a median standpoint, I'm much more inclined in cash games to play Eze over Gross.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think here? Eze, Gross? I mean, this is forward only here. So.
Yeah, I think I want to play both of them. I think Eze I agree with Jordan. He's probably the number one. Just if he's going to have almost all the set pieces and pens and he's more attacking. Jack mentioned in the chat we might see Gross at defensive midfield and Veltman at right back. I could see that too. I don't think it really matters for cash games, actually. Like we just saw it so many times last year that Gross plays all over the field, no matter where he starts. And they're just such big favorites. I mean, that's really it. I mean, all the other 3 matches are basically pick'ems, and Brighton's total is significantly higher. First match of the season at home against a promoted side. It's tough not to play Gross here for
would
cash
you
games,
rather play positions aside? Would you rather play Gross or March? Because March is midfield
March
only.
Yeah, I would rather play March, but yeah, I guess I forgot to say it looks like all the value is going to be at midfield. So I mean, there is some at forward. There might be some at forward. We'll talk about one really cheap guy for sure. It's tough though. I just found myself wanting to spend up twice at forward, but yeah, that means you can't play March.
But the other spend up could possibly be, I mean, to me, the top level is like, I feel like I want to play. There's one cheaper guy that maybe is viable for cash. Jared Bowen at 9,000. He's viable, but I mean, to me, the price difference with $1,100 price difference is like, I think there's so much more upside for Gross than there is for Bowen. Even if you think that Bowen has a little bit more normally distributed outcomes, but if you didn't have the 1,100, I think I'm okay with Bowen also. But I would rank them as a 1, Gross 2, Bowen 3, and then outside of that, where I wouldn't want to pay up at all at forward.
Yeah, I kind of think. Don't you think the Gross's outcomes are more normally distributed? I mean, you're confident in the matchup. You don't know how West Ham are going to play, and you don't even know if Bowen's going to take set pieces. It feels like his floor is shakier to me.
I mean, that's true. I mean, obviously, it's the first game of the season. I mean, we don't know, but I mean, paying 10-1 for possibly a central defensive midfielder is just, it's always Yeah, he's in the forward spot, but I mean, if Gross was midfield only and March was midfield only, you'd prefer March.
Yeah.
Just to mix it up here. Just to mix it up here, as I like to do. I know the pricing is a tad ridiculous here, but if we compare Pascal Gross at 10-1 and compare Alex Iwobi at 8K. So we know Alex Iwobi, it seems like at least last season, it was like he always was kind of in like this 8-point floor range. And if you take McNeil out, at times last season, Iwobi split set pieces with McNeil. We figure that Garner is going to be on set pieces, but there's a chance Iwobi's on some as well. At home, second biggest favorite. You're basically saving 2,100 on Iwobi, and there's a chance his floor is kind of in the same range. I mean, upside-wise, I don't think, the upside is much different either outside of Brighton being a massive favorite, but you are saving 2,100 here on Iwobi. Granted, the price feels ridiculous to pay 8K for Alex Iwobi, but if you remove the names, I feel like it kind of makes sense that you'd almost rather play Iwobi here. Jordan?
Well, I think that the question comes in is like, where do you spend the salary? Because I think we're going to get into midfield. It's quite possible that you don't even have to spend up at midfield at all. So if you're going to be stuck in a spot where Iwobi's forward eligibility is not even going to matter, where you're going to be stuck going, I could play any 8K level midfielder, and it's quite possible that there may be other 8K midfielders that are similar enough to Iwobi. I mean, I'd much rather play Garner at 5,300 than Iwobi at 8,000.
You could play both.
You're true. You absolutely could play them both. But I just don't think the $2,100 is going to matter that much on this slate. I don't necessarily think that there's a defender. I don't think you have to pay all the way up for a Stupinon or anything like that. I just don't think it's necessary. It is, if anything, maybe you say Iwobi's better than Bowen at 9,000. But I don't put him on the same level as Eze at 9,800. And truthfully, no matter where Gross plays on the pitch, he probably plays 90 minutes. He has probably half of the set pieces, at least, and possible penalty duty. Brighton has a team total that's like one full goal over everyone else. Like, it feels weird that if I don't play Gross in my lineup, I don't even know if I play any Brighton in my lineup, which I guess can be viable. But it just doesn't make me feel good.
Until they score 4 goals.
Yeah,
Ryan, do you have any thoughts there?
I do like Iwobi. I like the points you made, but I don't think you're going to need the 2,000. It's just you're plugging Garner. You're plugging Garner and Norwood in, at least in my opinion. I think like fading either of those guys in cash games is not the move. So then like if you start there, the rest of your lineup starts to build itself. So yeah, I'm starting with Garner and Norwood, and then I get like I like Iwobi. I guess
Brian, I think my dummy lineup and your dummy lineup may be the same line.
See, I'm not sure the way you poo-pooed a Stupinian.
Well, you could use that. I understand what there is a construction that you probably have if you play a Stupinon and a cheaper goalkeeper, or do you pay up for Brighton's keeper and play a slightly lower?
Right.
Okay. To me, that's going to be the construction question.
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan.
Yeah, but I'm with you. But to highlight what Ryan said, I'm with you. Like, I'm in. The $2,000 is not going to matter much once you plug in Gardner and Norwood. If you're not playing Gardner and Norwood, then I guess you could use the 2,000 elsewhere, but I'm not really sure where you're going to do it outside of either a second defender spot or paying all the way up a goalkeeper as well. They're viable. I don't want to poo-poo Iwobi. He's fine. I just don't think the context of the slate in cash games. Like, to me, Gardner and Norwood are guys that, and frankly, in GPPs, maybe you don't play, but in cash games, I think you're getting so much high of floor with them at those prices that why wouldn't you be playing them?
So you guys aren't in a situation where playing Iwobi instead of Gross gets you steal over, Fodderingham or one of the cheaper goalkeepers.
I mean, it can, but that's all it's getting. But that's your concession of like, and we all know that goalkeeper variance is the highest. So like, I don't want goalkeeper to decide like whether or not I play a dude, right? So if the 2000 just gets me up at goalkeeper, I don't consider that. Like, then I'm just going to consider, do I want to play Gross or Iwobi straight up if they were the same price? And the answer is going to be Gross. So like, the keeper doesn't matter.
Keeper doesn't matter even with 47% clean sheet odds, you don't think? I thought you were the guy who played the high clean sheet percentage goalkeeper.
Oh, that's why when we talk about the construction, I don't have a stupid on in my life.
Okay. You mentioned there may be a value forward that you're looking at. Who was on your mind here?
I mean,
Jay Anthony?
It depends on Bournemouth's lineup. I mean, I've seen different line. I mean, Bournemouth could line up in a different. I mean, they have a lot of people that they could line up with. You don't know if Ryan Christie's going to play, but if like Dango's in, like Dango's Utara, whatever his real last name, I just call him Dango. I mean, he doesn't have set pieces or anything, but I mean, he's very active. I mean, even if he plays 75 minutes, I think his floor is very high for cash game purposes to play him at 5,900. I don't think this is the type of slate though where you're playing you're playing like if Kiefer Moore starts at 3,700 for Bournemouth, where you're like, I'm punting one forward spot, no matter if it's only a 1-point floor, in order to jam in midfielders. Like it's not the Kevin De Bruyne type of slate where you're like, I need De Bruyne and Madison in my lineup. Like, so I don't even know if you're even going down to grab a guy with like really low floors.
I think if you wanted to play Garner, Norwood, and March, you could play like a 3,900 Jaden Anthony.
Do you think Anthony made that, Ryan? Do you think Anthony, if he starts, what happens if he plays fullback?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I kind of think he's going to start at right back. So, I mean, does it change that much for cash if he's still going to like split set pieces? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't change too much. I don't know, to be honest. But yeah, he would definitely have less upside.
Ryan, if Divin, I can't say his first name, but Mubama for West Ham, who's been arguably their best forward in the preseason, 3,500. If he starts, are you going to be playing him at all in any of your tournament lineups? So, I think he scored 4 or something goals for West Ham in preseason. I mean, this guy he's 3,500. He's been this young guy, played a few times off the bench last season. Ings is 7,900. Antonio is 7,600. And I think Mubama is going to get some real minutes this season. I don't know if it's going to come in this game, but it's something to keep an eye on. Do you think like people will consider this because it's a cheap forward going against Bournemouth? Do you think people would actually consider Mubama because he's down there?
I mean, I would assume people would play him in tournaments. Yeah, I guess you have to spend a lot to get multiple Brighton players in your lineup. That would certainly help.
Mm-hmm.
For me, for sure. I mean, always give me, the unknown 18-year-old. I see this kid's 18. I mean, for 3,500, yeah, why not?
I think there is some known about him, but he's been pretty good. He's been. Yeah,
really I shouldn't say unknown. Just I did not know about him.
Yeah, I would say there's still, while not playable, there's a lot of guys down here that could start that in the 4K range, like a Sula for 4,100. Probably a guy who would see 60 minutes or something. We mentioned Anthony. We got David Brooks, who had cancer and returned last season. He's been playing a bunch in the preseason.
Yeah, could see him starting.
He could start at 3,700 for Bournemouth. Kiefer Moore could start over Solanke, who may not be 100% at 3,700 for Bournemouth. De Cordova-Reid, I guess we know about him. He doesn't have much of a floor, but he's 3,600. So there are guys here that if you are looking in that range, you could go there. I don't know if anyone
that's the GPP. That to me, that's the GPP route. Like,
yeah,
like flipping the bill. I think a lot of there'll be a lot of ownership on the cheaper midfielders and the high price forwards. And I think flipping, maybe you don't flip it twice. You don't do the dinky do and put like, 2 4K forwards in. But I mean, the whole thing in GPPs is you want to get hat tricks and you want to get cheap goals. And cheap goals typically come out of forwards. So like playing one of these cheaper forward guys and then like jamming in like Matoma or something or March and those, I think that's more of the I wouldn't be doing that in cash.
I'd rather play Mubama over Norwood, but that's just me.
In cash?
Yeah.
Man, get out of here.
If he starts,
like half of his outcomes are 45 minutes and 2 points, while half of Norwood's outcomes are like 8 corners and maybe a PK.
I'm a different cash player than everyone else.
Yeah, okay. A losing.
I don't like. Fine, get your 6 points from Norwood. That's fine.
Okay.
I know
3,700. Why?
I know he's cheap. Get your 6 points from him, but I mean, Mubama has the goal upside, and he's the same price. Okay, maybe Mubama gets 2 points. Maybe that loses me. I'm off the cut line. But if Mubama scores,
why is he better than like Kiefer Moore or Brooks or?
I just like the matchup.
Play him in GPP. I think we're fine with you playing him in GPP, but
this is my personal play. Anyone can do what they want here, but I think there's going to be goals in this Bournemouth-West Ham match. I think Bournemouth's new manager likes to play in fast games, and this is going to be a different kind of team this season with Bournemouth. And then this Sheffield United Crystal Palace game is going to be extremely ugly. We've seen the odds 2.49. I think the implied goal total should be like 2 for this one. Crystal Palace, we know they don't have Elise. They don't have Zaha. Sheffield United have random guys here starting at forward. We'll see if McBurney's ready to start. We know how
GPP then.
We know how Sheffield United play. Yeah, I mean,
people are still going to play. People are still going to play Norwood in GPPs.
Okay.
I just you'd rather get first. You'd rather
get
first place.
Me to do this in cash games now, so I'll do it.
Okay, I'm just saying you're gonna get first in all the cash. You're gonna get first in the cash games and double your money instead of like first in the GPP.
Well, you always play your cash lineup in at least one GPP.
Okay.
So you're doing that. Oh. So you're starting from the other side. You're
just going to sweep the board. Okay.
Lineup in
the one rule that Andrew Laird taught is that you always play at least one. You always play your cash lineup in at least one GPP contest.
Okay.
Yeah, but you build a cash lineup and then you throw it in. You're building a GPP lineup and then throwing it into a game. You're doing the complete contrapositive of that.
All right. You guys have anything else on forward here? I know there's a lot of guys we haven't mentioned, but it's kind of in the mid-range. We haven't really talked about the Willian Mitrovic situation with Fulham. Ings at 7,900 is an extreme price. We have the Eduard at 6,200 for Crystal Palace. Whoever starts for Everton up front, Danjuma's midfield only, but he's 7,800. Malpay is 6,100. I don't think Calvert-Lewin will start, but he's 6,000. Any other thoughts here at forward?
No, other than GPP, I agree with you. When we get to the game, Adam, at least I'm on board with the game to target for GPP.
There we go. So midfielders, you guys already said we're locking in cash games, Garner and Norwood. That's kind of what we're deciding here.
I would.
I mean, there are plenty. I mean,
there are other. You could play. Yeah, there are other. I mean, we see Norwood's questionable. It seems like he's going to start. If he doesn't, Ben Slimani is 3,100, who would most likely take the set pieces. I mean, I'm not really sure who else would, looking at their lineup. So I think you're going to get.
I think Fodderingham will go up the field, take some corners.
Yeah, and then then also if you want it or need it, Luton is going to have a set piece taker. It might be Giles for 3,300. It might be Alfie Doughty for 3,500. So I mean, I just don't know. And then there's March at the top. He's clearly the best midfielder. Just one of the best plays on the slate overall. But in between that, I'm not really sure what you do. I want to hear your thoughts, I guess, on, Pereira is there at 8,400.
Before we go,
yeah, go ahead.
Pereira may not start. Marco Silva already said he's not 100%. So if he starts, could be like a 70-minute situation here. And if he doesn't start, it'd be Tom Kearney. So
Kearney's question. I thought Kearney's questionable also.
Let's find out.
Okay, well, just rule the whole Fulham team out for cash. I mean, see, there's just no need.
The problem with the Fulham team, if Pereira starts and is only going to play 70, I mean, I'm not a big and if he's going to split with Willian, and then this Fulham situation and then Mitrovic may not start because he wants out. I mean, the only Fulham players I'm aiming to play in cash are probably at fullback.
Yeah. I agree.
Unless it's like Pereira's going to play 90 and then everyone else is out. Like it's one of those.
You just won't know. I mean, Harry Wilson could take a couple set pieces.
Right.
I mean,
Harry Wilson at 6,700.
But I mean, can't you say the same thing for West Ham? I mean, like, do you feel like these West Ham players for cash games are a bit overpriced?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone but Mubama.
Is he going to start?
Actually, if Paqueta starts, I know he's in all of these rumors, but they haven't agreed to a deal. And from what I could tell, David Moyes didn't go on a De Zerbi rant about how he said Caicedo is done with the team. I didn't see that about Paqueta. So if he's not, I mean, if the deal doesn't complete, it seems like Paqueta is going to start, and he's only 7,100. So I don't think that price is actually too crazy
for GPP. But I wouldn't play 7,100. I mean, I already know who's going to fill my two midfield spots. I mean, it's just a matter of, do I play a midfielder and utility? And I think on this slate, you're actually playing 3 defenders more so. But there are some cheap midfield options. Once we start getting into like the 5K, 4K range, once you get into the 4K range, if they have some amount of upside plus a little bit of a floor, they're always going to be cash viable, but maybe not cash optimal. But I take a look at guys like Abdoulaye Doucouré, especially with if he's going to be playing in a little bit more of an attacking role. He has goal scoring upside. You take a look at like Philip Billing, depending on how Bournemouth lineup, Ryan Christie. I mean, I don't think Christie goes 90 at all. I'm not sure some of these Bournemouth guys go 90 at all anyway. But if Anthony lines up as a fullback, it's much more likely that you get a Dango, you get a Philip Billing playing as an central attacking midfielder with like Cook and Rothwell behind him type of thing. So it really depends on Bournemouth's lineup. But like in this range, that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then on the off chance, what I've seen some, right? Because remember, I just show up the week of and I don't know what the hell's happened over the course of anything. Buonanotte, whatever, however whatever for Brighton. It's possible that he starts. Does he go 90? Probably not. 65, 70? Maybe. Right? I mean, he's 19 years old or whatever, and they gave him a bunch of time at the end of last season. Like if they don't want to play like Enciso or Pedro, if they're new to the team or something, like he's 3,400 and he's playing for the team with the highest implied team total, and he's an attacking winger. Would you pay 3,400 for 60 minutes of that?
I mean, he's the same price as Adam Lallana. I think we had these questions last season. I guess if you look at it, it was like, no, we don't want to play Lallana, even though he's an attacking midfield role. But Buonanotte, he's a newer player. Maybe we do want to play him. I guess kind of a thing. Ryan, any thoughts here?
I mean, I would play him. Yes, I would play him in any format for 3,400. Yeah, rather than a third.
His goal odds, I think, are like plus 200 or something.
Yeah, give me 60 minutes the matchup's the matchup's very good. And
would you play him over Oliver Norwood, the legendary Oliver Norwood, for 6 points?
I mean, no, not in cash. I'd just probably play both of them.
Okay. All right,
But yeah, I don't want Norwood for GPPs. That's definitely going to be, I'm not going to play Norwood in that big GPP, maybe like 1 or 2 lineups, but yeah.
I think if you play Norwood in GPP, you pair him up with a Sheffield forward.
Sure.
Like do something like that rather than plug him in. Yeah, I think there's enough people in the 4K range that you could reasonably see score an actual goal or get.
You know what? To be honest,
you don't bank on the Norwood PK though.
He's the guy I don't pair with a forward. He's the guy I want to play if they're down 1-0 the whole game. Like, I feel like all of Norwood's assists come from corners. He's like barely involved.
He's like play. Ashley Westwood. They both have wood in their name.
He's barely involved from open play. At least that's how it's been. But anyway.
Yeah, what else we got? These Everton midfielders all seem to have like 6 to 8 points last season when they played. So Gay's down here. Oh, Nana is somewhere around here, 3,300. So, I mean, obviously none of them have the set pieces like Norwood have. So it's Slimani. So did we play Ben Slimani in the World Cup? Is that what the competition was?
We played him quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay. This is the guy. Okay. This is the guy that was in the World Cup. So if Norwood doesn't start, would you just kind of replace him with Ben Slimani, I guess?
Okay. For sure.
Yeah. It seems like he is one of their new signings, and it seems like he's going to have a pretty big role for him this season.
I guess, sorry, I just saw, but I'm pretty sure Ben Osborne, I want to say, has taken the corners when Norwood hasn't been in there. So I don't know.
2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
that was a while ago.
Yeah, I need to check on that. But
he has 21 corners in the last 3 seasons.
I'm just saying that's something like, does Slimani just come right in and take the corners? I mean, hopefully, Norwood's probably going to start, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, at some point, you got to research what they've been doing in their preseason matches if you really want to get into it here. Something that I don't think any of us did. So,
but yeah, I mean, if Norwood didn't start, it would be one of those 2 guys. I just play Ben Slimani.
Right. Cool. I don't see anyone else of note here in midfield. We kind of mentioned everyone, and especially with Gardner here at 5,300. I think that's almost a must. And then Norwood. That's pretty settled for cash games. So you guys have a debate here for defender, because Jordan's talking about using 3 defenders and not using a Stupinian. Ryan wants to use a Stupinian. So Jordan, why are you going with 3 defenders here when it doesn't seem like it's a great defender slate, unless I'm mistaken?
No, from a floor perspective, I think it's actually a pretty decent defender slate. Like in comparison for the pricing, the fact that you could play 2 nearly 10K forwards and 2 underpriced cheaper midfielders. Like, isn't this like the best of both worlds? You'd rather not play you don't want to play the $3,200 fullback. You don't want to play Joel Ward, right? You don't want to play those guys. So like, if I could get 7, 8 points, upwards of 10 out of a defender, I mean, it's the most underpriced position in DFS soccer once you factor in the clean sheet points. So like, I take a look and I go, like, to me, my defender pool right now would be a Stupinan at 7K. Normally I don't like paying that much for him, but the matchup is it's like, think of a Stupinan as Joe Cancelo on Man City.
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Right. So like, if you have the money, I think that's fine. But I think this is going to come down to, do you pay up for a Stupinan or you pay up for Steele? So like, and which side of the ball are you on? It's so close. But I think my pool is like a Stupinan, Kufal, Robinson,
Emerson,
okay. Patterson. I think Kenny Tet would be okay if you wanted to pay $5,900. I prefer Anthony Robinson on the other side for cheaper. But to me, I think the cheapest defender that I'm going to use would be Patterson at 3,800. Because Seamus Coleman's out.
Yep. Okay. I'm just trying to put together this lineup here with this 3 defenders. Does your 3 defender build have a Stupinian?
It could.
Okay.
It depends on who you play at goalkeeper. It really comes down to you could play any goalkeeper from Steele down to like Fotheringham, and I think you're fine. I think I'm less likely to play Bournemouth West Ham keepers, and much more likely to play the Fulham Everton keepers, or the Sheffield or the Crystal Palace keeper. But I mean, you could manipulate this to play any of the guys that I mentioned, any three of them, with one of those goalkeepers. Like that to me, that's the whole construction. To me, I have Gross, Eze, Garner, Norwood, and then now we're talking about that. Like to me, at this point, that's what my lineup looks like.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. There's just like a dead zone in the other positions if you're in the utility and you're between the 4 to 6K range. It is kind of a dead zone. I mean, you mentioned Doucouré at 4,800, but I mean, if you don't have Patterson yet for 3,800, why would you pay 1K more for Doucouré than Patterson?
Doucouré has more upside. I mean, if they have the money, whatever. But if you're taking it at a goalkeeper, I mean, what are you really doing? Like, to me on this slate, I feel like you're either playing Steele or you're playing another goalkeeper. So, like, I don't necessarily think, I know we'd not, goalkeepers play whoever you want, but like Steele at 5,800 is like only $500 more than Pickford or Johnston. Johnstone's 51. Like, Steele's clean sheet odds are so much higher than these other guys that, like, Steele is technically underpriced in comparison. So, to me, if I have an underpriced goalkeeper and I have three defenders to choose from out of three spots, I'm much more rather just side with Steele than I'd rather Steele or Fotheringham. But if I end up getting stuck on like a Pickford or a Johnstone or a Leno, it feels like I'm wasting like 4,400 for Leno is okay. Feels like it's either Steele or bust.
I think I'm going to be on three goalkeepers: Steele, Fotheringham, or Johnstone. That's the only ones I'm looking at personally. But Ryan, so what are your defender thoughts? You're on Estupiñán here. Do you have any further reasoning here for us?
Yeah, for me, Estupiñán's the priority, and the West Ham left back would be the luxury. I think his range of outcomes are safer, and he has higher upside. I mean, whoever starts for West Ham, I've seen different lineups with Emerson and Cresswell. I think it's fine, but they're, huh?
Cresswell's old.
Yeah, but
I don't like those lineups.
No, it makes them a little bit of a sub risk just having them both.
Well, don't you think, Ryan, that the left back situation, like that's why I like Kufal.
Yeah, I'm fine with Kufal.
He's going to play 90 no matter what on that side.
Yeah, if you want to say he's better than the left back, I think that's fine. I was sort of wondering the same thing. But Estupiñán, yeah, I see, he seems more, don't want to say almost, guaranteed double digits, as much as it can be, while the other guys have some more risk. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Like Jordan said, I was Cancelo. It's basically the same thing.
Did you guys say you'd rather have Soufal over Emerson because he's cheaper?
Maybe.
Are we taking into account that Emerson may have a split of set pieces?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the only concern I have with Emerson is that because Cresswell's there, that whoever starts doesn't play 90. I mean, but it's quite possible that 78 minutes of Emerson, I mean, I'd much prefer than 90 minutes of Kufal. I mean, and that's fine also. But like to me, Cresswell's kind of a non-starter. Like if Cresswell starts, like I'll just play Kufal. So I don't see Cresswell playing 90 over that. I mean, obviously he can.
Emerson went at least 80 minutes in all but one of his final 11 starts last season. I think he basically won that job last season. I wouldn't actually worry about minutes, but
okay, that's fair.
The problem is if you play Estupiñán and Emerson together, you're kind of stuck.
You're stuck with Mubama at utility.
Yes, right, of course. No, I mean I would play this construction with Estupiñán and Emerson if Buonanotte is in. However,
yeah, me too.
That guy's name.
Me too. Maybe even with Ryan Giles.
What about Idrissa Gueye if none of those guys are in? 3,500?
I
Ryan
think
Giles?
I would
Yeah,
just
like you said.
play. I mean,
Would you rather play Giles than Gueye? I mean, we have maybe we have
yes.
possible sets, but Luton Town is going to have what, 2 corners in this matchup, and Giles may go 65 minutes in a 4-0 loss. We know Gueye will probably.
I'm just not an Idrissa Gueye guy.
You care about Norwood's 6 floor points, but you don't care about Gueye's 5 floor points.
Yeah, I just don't see it ever being too much more than 5.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll say let's go Michael Keane here for the goal. 3,300.
Oh, you center backs. What hold on. We didn't probably discuss Ryan's thoughts on the Fulham fullbacks and
okay.
Like, do you consider Patterson to be like the lowest you'll go at defender if needed? Or if you look at Patterson, you'd be like, I'd rather have like a Philip Billing. I'd rather have would you rather like the midfielder in that range than a Patterson? Because I think Patterson's floor is fine for 3,800 in the spot that he plays, but his upside is so much more limited than even guys like Anthony Robinson at 4,600.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, sort of. I drew a line by Patterson. I think I'd be fine, if you can use the salary wisely. But I'd rather find a few hundred more for those other guys you mentioned. What if it just doesn't seem like we're going to need this, but Adam's got 2,700 Van Heck in the starting lineup. I'd rather do that than Patterson almost. I don't really think
who's that guy.
I don't really think he's going to start, but if he does, I would have interest.
Who do you think's going to start? Igor?
Okay, I've seen a lineup with Igor, and I've seen one with
Adam Webster is not completely fit, so that's why I took him out of the starting 11 here.
Yeah,
we're talking about center backs.
I mean, yeah, we are.
Ryan is.
I mean, Jordan,
Ryan's taking my role here.
Wouldn't you rather play like $2,700 Ruben Diaz over Patterson?
I knew you were gonna. Once I saw his price, I'm like, you're essentially playing the. I mean, if you look at the odds, Brighton is a 74% chance to win, 47% chance at a clean sheet, 2.24 implied goal total. Like, if you took away the names of the teams, you would think this is a Man City slate, right? You would think, like, if you could just replace Brighton with Man City, and he'd be like, well, their starting center back is like under 3K. And it's like, dude, the clean sheet equity plus possible set piece goal upside is there, that like all those center backs for those big favorites typically should be priced in the high 3Ks, right? Typically the efficient price is like 3,800. So you get it for $1,000 cheaper. Yeah, I know the floor is low. But the problem on this slate is that, do you need it? I mean, if you're playing Gardner Norwood, I mean, like is this the slate where you punt at a defender spot?
Probably not.
Depends if you want Steele or not.
Even at that point, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, who's your goalkeeper? Do you have any different thoughts from what we said earlier?
I got a GPP defender for you.
GPP defender? Yeah, you just said Van Heck.
Oh no, I got a guy I actually like a little bit more, especially because you guys like the game. Milos Kerkez. This kid is the real deal. He's not going to be on Bournemouth for too long, I don't think.
You were grinding Bournemouth preseason games.
No, I wasn't. No, actually, I wasn't. But I saw him play for Hungary twice, and he was very impressed.
Yeah, Ryan's headphones died here, I believe. Classic first show of the season.
No, somebody called me. Somebody called me, and it was like connected to my phone. Anyways,
someone's asking for personal DFS advice from Ryan during our show. Come on.
I like this Kerkez kid, so I'm probably going to play some in GPP. There's no reason why he can't be the second highest scoring defender.
Yeah, he is. I was just gonna say he is Bournemouth's new left back. If everyone remembers, Matthias Vigna was on loan last season, and he had a couple good games. Though I think a lot of them were at wing back for him. But yeah, he's kind of taken that left back role for him because
Yeah,
they don't have anyone else.
He's an attacking 19-year-old. That's good size, fast, skilled. So yeah, but goalie. Yeah, I don't have too many different thoughts. I agree. Steele is underpriced. I'll try to play Steele if I can. Otherwise, yeah, I'm fine with. I don't know. I'm fine with anyone.
All right, so
I don't have any strong takes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I do have. Yeah. I know you guys you're gonna talk about the Bournemouth West Ham game, but man, if West Ham don't start Paqueta, I kind of think they might now. But if they don't, then I kind of like Bournemouth in this spot. Like I'll play some Bournemouth forwards. I wouldn't mind playing the Bournemouth keeper. But yeah, I don't know. I'll look out for that. I just think they're going to struggle if they don't have Rice or Paqueta. I mean, we've seen that midfield before.
Have you seen Mubama play before?
Maybe the Mubama hat trick. Maybe that'll do it to me. But no, yeah. Give me Bournemouth if they don't have Paqueta in there.
Okay. So Jordan, if you're going to focus on this Bournemouth West Ham game, how many Bournemouth pieces are you going to want? Two Bournemouth pieces?
Not
one Bournemouth
three. I
piece?
mean, they're cheap enough. Three.
Okay.
I mean, look how cheap they could possibly be. I mean, you have looking
Lewis
at their
Cook,
starting
Joe
lineup.
Rockwell.
I mean, Anthony, Billing, Christie, right? I mean, Solanke. I mean, if you have Kiefer Moore in there, I mean, like this team could be really cheap. So if this game ends up being 3-2, 2-2, 4-3, something like that, I mean, West Ham's the one where it's expensive. So West Ham's the one where I'd have 2 pieces of West Ham and then 3 pieces of Bournemouth, maybe 4 pieces. Who knows? Play Kirkez, Billing, Anthony, and Moore or something like. I mean, you could possibly do that. Like I don't mind stack. To me, this is the game to stack more than the other ones. If anything, it's kind of a weird construction thing. I think stacking Bournemouth because of price is good. I also think stacking Brighton because of price is good also. And you go, what do you mean because of price? They're so expensive. It's like, yeah, because it's quite possible that all these games suck except for Brighton scoring 5 goals against Luton. And it's like, dude, all you have to just play 6 Brighton players, get their cheap goal 2 other spots, and that may be good enough. I mean, you could be fine. You play Van Heck, you play Steele, Van Heck, Estupinan, Gross, March, and you fit in Ryan Giles on the other side, right? You could find some cheapies. I just don't think a lot of people are going to do that, especially if you add players like Matoma, Enciso, Ferguson, mix them. Maybe you don't play March and Gross together, but you kind of mix them around because people will avoid that because you spend so much of your salary that you can't do anything else.
If Justin Kluivert starts, would you consider him at 8,200 for a sub 5% Bournemouth play?
Sure, why not? But he'd be GPP only. You can't pay that price anywhere else.
We're not talking cash here. Yes,
I prefer Dango if Dango's in the Kluivert.
Kluivert would probably have at least a split of set pieces, but
that's Patrick Kluivert's son, legend.
Yeah, I believe he was last on Valencia. I want to say he's been a few places, but I think it was Valencia last season.
Yeah, I mean he was pretty highly rated for a time after he left Ajax. Yeah. Anyway, I gotta bring up. I'm on board with what Jack said here in the chat. Benrahma and GPPs. If you see Jaden Anthony at right back, even if you don't, I mean Benrahma's got penalty kicks.
Ryan, when was the last time you weren't on Benrahma?
But yeah, pretty much never. He's just nobody ever plays him, and he wins slates. Of course, he's going to bust a lot, but he wins slates.
Yeah, I think it's just because like Bowen is usually near the same price, and everyone's like, okay, split a set pieces. Sense. It's going to be Bowen's usually double, if not more.
And Rama's never cheap, Also, shout out Jack for doing the Lord's work and DMing a Sheffield United beat reporter trying to get set piece information for us, but we haven't got a response yet.
You got to batter him with Twitter comments here. Okay, outside of this Brighton-Bournemouth match, I'm not sure. Are you guys looking at all in this Sheffield United Crystal Palace match? I don't know if there's a reason to, but for tournaments here, are you looking at any of these guys outside of Eze? I'm not sure I want Eze actually in tournaments, but
I'm kind of looking at one guy to pair with Eze, or opposite Eze, I should say.
Jordan.
So I haven't had any success with any of these other Sheffield forwards, so why not give this Benny Traore a shot? No one's going to play him considering the price. 20-year-old kid from Ivory Coast definitely brings something that Sheffield haven't had for a while. You know, he probably only goes 60 minutes, but maybe that's your 5% goal or whatever it is. So maybe I'll take a chance on him.
Yeah, these Osula and Traore, not a ton of info on them. I think Traore is probably going to be their best forward by the end of the season.
Me too.
Osula is simply a placeholder because McBurney doesn't seem like he's healthy enough to start. So,
like I was looking at that too. It seemed like one of McBurney or Jebison might be fit enough to start. That's probably what's going to happen. Or else, that Osula guy. I tried looking him up. Not much on him.
Yeah, it's an ugly situation. That's
an ugly situation.
I think Paul Heckenbottom, maybe that's the manager's name. He just said they didn't really have a ton of depth. I almost went for like a 4-5-1 for their formation just because of the lack of options. So we could see something a little different from them. But they've been running 3-5-2 pretty consistently. Jordan, any thoughts with that one, or in terms of Everton, Fulham, Danjuma here? Just another guy who will be, not very popular. I don't know if anyone else stands out for tournaments on Everton outside of Michael Keane, as everyone knows. Mitrovic.
No, I don't mind playing the midfielders. I mean, you could play. I mean, they're just people to play. There's Patterson, Iwobi, Onana, Decore, the corpse of Ashley Young, I guess, at some point. And Fulham, I mean, I like their fullbacks. I mean,
I think Willian and Wilson are pretty decent tournament plays.
Mitrovic has the ceiling of could break any slate,
and he'll be popular as usual.
Right, but I mean, I'm less inclined to think the Everton Fulham game goes nuts compared to the Bournemouth West Ham game.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. The Sheffield Crystal Palace game, like even the pricing doesn't like it's not even like, oh, Sheffield, it's but it's cheap. It's like it's not really. Like, who are you playing? I mean, are you playing Jefferson Lerma? Who are you playing on these teams? I mean, it's just Schlupp. I mean, come on. I mean, so to me, it's Eze or bust on Crystal Palace, and then it's. I mean, I don't want to play anyone on Luton, truthfully. So it's like Brighton. Yeah, I'm treating Brighton like Man City. And in Bournemouth, West Ham, I'm treating more as game stacky. And then Everton and Fulham are kind of like where the value pieces to sprinkle in, I guess. Because even like combinations, like, do I want to play Danjuma in a midfield spot at 7,800? Probably not. Right? I'd rather Maupay be in, at least.
Yeah, it should also be mentioned, like, Calvert-Lewin's not fit enough to start, but he's should be fit enough to come off the bench. So could be 45 and 45 for him too.
Is that very similar to Brighton? Like, what's the chances of Ferguson playing 90?
Welbeck's there, so not very likely.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of 60 minutes for those guys. As you mentioned, Buonanotte, João Pedro is another guy who could start. And Cisso's had a good preseason, but if he doesn't start, then he's another guy that's coming off the bench. I mean, there's a lot. Solomon March. I'd say if we're looking at this Brighton lineup, considering it as Man City, I mean, maybe at some point you ignore that some of these guys are only going 60, 70 minutes. But if this is the lineup, I think Miedema is the last guy to be subbed off. He's fit. He's been playing all preseason. He was good last season. We know what he can do. But Enciso is a guy who's not going to go 90. March played one preseason match following his long-term injury, which was, 2-3 months out. So he's not going to be 100% healthy. And then we know the Ferguson Welbeck situation up front. So I think if anyone to go 90, I think Miedema is the guy. If that comes into your thinking at all here. So do you have any thoughts on Brighton, Ryan?
I thought that was pretty good analysis. Comes into my thinking a little regarding Miedema.
Are you ready for the Billy Gilmore brace?
I was just going to say, we should be careful calling Brighton Manchester City when they have Dahoud and Gilmore running the show, as opposed to Caicedo and McAllister.
Dahoud used to play with Holland and Akanji, didn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't he on those Dortmund teams?
Yeah, he trained with them. I don't know. Yeah. He didn't get too much game time, if I remember. But, I'm just saying, like, I like the spot for Brighton a lot, but it's not going to shock me if they underwhelm either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys have anything else here? 55 minutes in, first show. Pretty good show, I'd say.
All we know is that the central defenders, it's going to be the Van Heck Michael Keane combination, right? Double punt defender. It's going to be pay up in midfielder, cheap goals at forward, and some weird lineup that wins the GPP.
I mean, I feel like I'm almost guaranteeing we're going to have a 10th minute Crystal Palace goal, and Norwood's going to have 12 corners, but what are you going to do, I guess?
12 corners and 2 penalties.
No, they're not scoring. They're just going to rack up corners all game.
No, still he'll miss both penalties, but it'll get saved, and he'll get the
shots on target,
shots on goal. Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. All right, we got you got anything else, Ryan, Jordan? Anything here?
I don't think so.
I think we covered it all. Pretty solid show, pretty tight show. RotoWire.com/soccer trial, free 48-hour trial. We're back for the season, 38 weeks of matches, and then Champions League, and then whatever else. Sorry to everyone, no Women's World Cup action, but honestly, I've only played a couple slates because I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. to play some of these. But good luck to everyone who is. We still have cheat sheets for them. You can find Ryan at Ryan Belongia on Twitter. Jordan is at BlenderHD. I am at Zdroik. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week for whatever the slate brings to us. Good luck, everyone. And we got, speaking of, if you're watching live, we got Manchester City Burnley lineups coming out right now. So get on that slate. Start playing that. I know Jordan isn't into those showdown contests, but maybe he will today. Maybe he's feeling lucky. Never know. Thanks, guys. Good luck to everyone.
Good luck, everybody.